Hello. Welcome to HMH Social Studies. Today we will be viewing a teacher's perspective of ancient civilizations on the Ed Your Friend and Learning platform. HMH Social Studies content is organized into modules. These are the broadest sections of instruction covering specific time periods or historical events. Each module follows the same consistent structure, starting with a module opener and ending with a module close. You have access to your different modules of study by navigating through the carousel right on your Discover tab. When you click on a module of study, you have access to your teacher's edition, your student edition, and all the resources connected to this particular module of study. And underneath, we have organized it by lessons for you can easily access resources and view specific lessons at a time. If you click on an open lesson, you will have access to all of the resources connected to that specific lesson. And you may filter these resources by audience, by component, by instructional purpose, and by format. Let's return to our main landing page. I will now click on our module 6 and direct us straight to our teacher's ebook. Now, the great thing is that you have access to your teacher's edition right from your platform. What we are seeing right now mimics exactly what your students will see in the classroom. But on the very top right hand of the page where it says teacher, you may click on that to have access right at point of use to your documents to support the content for every single lesson. And you can simply unclick it to hide it from your students. So let's begin our exploration. The module opener includes favorite imagery and an essential question to frame the module and kick off the learning process. The essential question grounds students in the content. Students will be inquiring about and returning to this essential question throughout the lessons in the module, including a writing performance task, requiring them to gather content from multiple sources. On the left-hand side, students have access to their table of contents to easily navigate between the different components and lessons of this module of study. As we continue, there is audio support for every single lesson in HMH Social Studies. Let's take a listen to that right now.
Ancient China. China was one of the early centers of civilization. Rivers played key roles in Chinese history and the development of Chinese society. Essential question: how do the people, events, and ideas that shaped ancient China continue to influence the world? In this module, you will learn about the geography, history, and culture of ancient China, a culture that influences the world even today. Ancient Chinese civilization was controlled by ruling dynasties that dominated both government and society.
Okay, I'm going to just stop that right there for timing purposes, but I just wanted to show you that students have audio support for every single lesson by simply clicking on the audio button. I hope you notice as well that by clicking the 3 dots that says more, students have access to the read along highlight feature that reads along the text as it's being read aloud, making it easier for our students that struggle a bit to follow along with the text to support for comprehension. If you are a school that utilizes Google Classroom, you may share the content within the student's edition onto your Google Classroom page by simply clicking on the Google Classroom Share button. As we continue to engage our students and connect them to the story through the use of rich content and narratives, we also have digital media right at points of use, which is how our students consume most of their content. Our great narrative format, written like a story, together with our partnership with History Channel, creates multimedia experiences that draw students into events and challenges them to put themselves in the moment of history into the story. You can simply access this interactive video by simply clicking on the video link right here.
It rises where the mountains meet the sea at Shanhai Quan and snakes its way across northern China to the edge of the Gobi Desert, forming the spine of a system of so-called long walls that sprawl over thousands of miles of the Chinese landscape. Estimates of its length range between 1,500 and 4,000 miles, and its grandeur has been widely celebrated in myth and legend. Yet the existence of the Great Wall remained unknown to the Western world for more than 1,500 years.
Students can watch either the clip or the entire video. And teachers, there's so much more than just a history.com access. We're providing with high quality content you no longer need to spend hours searching for. They're right at point of use with no commercials. It's age appropriate, and most videos last anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes in length. And this video is not just a sit and get. We want our students to sit down and actually analyze these videos. Students now answer a question about the video directly in the flow of the book, ensuring engagement and comprehension. We're immersing them in the story. So students can type directly into their student edition. After the students types their response, they can actually check of what suggested answers or possible answers they should have included in that response. And sure, you'll find timelines in any social studies program, but how is it different? There are connections to people, places, and events. These interactive dual timelines help students build background and connect what is going on in China at the time with what's going on in the world, providing them with additional content. Students can simply click on the different moments to access the different events in that interactive timeline to learn a bit more. Students can go back easily and refer to not only the module events, but as well as world events throughout. And we still want our students to recap what they just learned. So we provide them with another opportunity right underneath that interactive timeline to then go and analyze it. Students can once again type into their responses right into their student editions. And check their possible responses if it matches the one that is recommended. As the students continue, they begin with their first lesson. Lessons follow a consistent structure. They always begin with an engaging opener. And then they continue to hook students' attention, followed by a rich narrative to engage active learning. Following the text, students partake in a review, followed by an assessment to culminate and demonstrate their learning of the lessons. For students who are ready, there are always enrichment activities throughout. So let's navigate through first our lesson opener. Each section challenges students with a provocative question designed to make the study of history and geography relevant to these students. So the students are introduced to the big idea, which provides context and foundation for the lesson. Introducing the big idea frames the learning and sets students up for success and comprehensive understanding. And then if you were there and if you lived there, sections set the stage for students and encourages them to think deeply about the lesson and with engaging questions. Students have the opportunity to put themselves in history to gain a perspective and to make these connections. So after the students read this portion, they can type right into their students' edition. So why is the legend important to your family? As they continue to the main idea of the story, the students then have an opportunity to dive into the different components that are supporting that big idea. Students always have an as you read prompt. So as you read, use your graphic organizer to take notes on China's geography. Students are encouraged to highlight and annotate right into the text by simply dragging and dropping the mouse to where they want to stop. They can choose which color they would like to highlight and annotate with. And then they can even add a note to support their comprehension of the text and to support them with any task at the end. They can simply save these notes and access any of these annotation notes by clicking the notes feature on the very top. Students will have access to these notes and annotations at any time. They can edit these notes and they may even delete them or print them as they see fit. As students continue to navigate throughout, they'll have access to not only interactive timelines, but interactive maps as well. That will help our students get a better understanding of what the land and geography was like during that particular time in history. Students can zoom in and out and have access to interactive tools, including a scale, a compass, and much more to help support their understanding of this particular map. As students continue throughout with the different lessons, not only are they encouraged to highlight and annotate, but as we remember, we want our students to access their graphic organizers to take notes. So students can access that graphic organizer by clicking on the button on the bottom right-hand corner. And as they're navigating through the different lessons throughout, they can take notes on the important characteristics and major developments throughout. The great thing about this is that students will always have access to this graphic organizer as they continue to navigate and interact with the different lessons throughout. And at the end of each lesson, we remind our students to remember to complete the graphic organizer with information on whatever topic this particular lesson is relating to. So in this example, it's early farmers in settlements of China. So students can easily go right back and continue to add notes to continue to finish their summarization of this particular lesson. And talking about summarization and other literacy skills our students are engaging with all throughout the lessons, students will be having periodic reading checks to help support their comprehension and analysis of this actual lesson that they're engaging with. And students, once again, get to interact and type their responses as they support and work with some of these different reading check skills. Review as homework in preparation for the lessons assessment at the end. So at the end of every lesson, there is a review opportunity for students to review key terms and people and to deal with interactive word cards or note cards to help support their terms and the definitions for the key terms and people relating to this lesson. Students are then encouraged to go back, review the graphic organizer, and compare and contrast their notes to see how these two different dynasties were similar or different. And after the review, there is an enrichment opportunity. So for those students who are ready, enrichment activities included to extend learning. So the enrichment section gives students an opportunity to explore related topics in depth, as well as deepening their understanding of the content. This is an opportunity for participants to reinforce student choice and to give yourselves the options and allow students to choose the activity or the topic that interests them most. So students can be creative or read and continue to explore deeply on this particular topic. Throughout the module of study, students will have opportunities to engage with multimedia connections. Multimedia connections are embedded throughout the lessons to pique interest and to engage our students in active learnings, but they're found in each module, and they include authentic primary source footage, dramatic storytelling, and expert testimonies throughout. This will provide our students with in-depth coverage of key concepts and interact with different videos, maps, and documents relating to this particular module of study. At the close of every single module, the students are engaging in document-based investigations. In every module, students will engage in a high interest historical document-based investigation. Lesson 1 points out that every lesson includes at least one document-based investigation of a variety of historical features. And it's a two-part process. So part 1, students revisit and review each document from the module to strengthen their answers to prepare them for that writing task. So students are going back, reviewing the different visuals and anything that they were interacting with throughout for this particular module of study. So documents, pictures, political cartoons, whatever they may be, students have an opportunity to go back and reread and reanalyze and see if they still agree with the points that they were making throughout. Students do have access to their graphic organizer to support them with this first part once again. Part 2 is asking students to draw evidence from several of the related relevant sources that they just reviewed and answer an essay question using evidence-based writing by referring to the documents and their short answers. These activities support the inquiry arch and ask students to think critically as they read. They encourage them to analyze these primary sources and to demonstrate their learning through evidence-based writing tasks. In this particular case, students are doing an argumentative essay where they're comparing and contrasting the historical context throughout. And students are asked to write an essay in response to the question, which dynasty had the greatest impact on China's development as a powerful empire? We provide students with steps to help support them as they plan and compose their essay throughout. At the very end, students have an opportunity to go back and reflect on that particular essential question. The essential question writing task asks our students to revisit the essential question and to apply the module's learning to effectively answer the question in their own words. So right here, we're asking our students to now write a persuasive essay answering the question above. And the essay should include key people, events, ideas that are relevant to ancient China. The last part of every module of study is a review portion where students can review the module's content using flashcards and sequence review to prepare for the module's assessments. Students can interact with the content and check their responses to see how they've engaged throughout. So that is our walkthrough of our module of study on Ed, Our Friend in Learning. For teachers to view all your resources that you have available to you to support you with a module of study, you can access it right through here where it says View Resources, and it will now bring up only the resources aligned to Module 6 or whichever module you are exploring at that time. You can filter the resources from teacher-facing to student-facing. You can filter it by component, by instructional purpose, and by format. So you'll have access to review interactive content, any presentations, PDF files that will help support the instruction of this particular module of study. I would like to highlight the digital assessment. You can assign any assessment from the module of study to your students by clicking on Assign. It will pop up this window, generate the assignment name, enter the start date and due date. You can edit these dates by clicking on the calendar. You may type in any directions you may like. And then filter by either class or by individual students. Once you've decided who to assign this assignment to or assessment, you will simply hit Assign. A green button will appear saying that this assignment was created. You can locate that assignment under the My Classes tab. Scroll down to your particular class, and then you will have access to this submenu of your assignments overview. And as you can see here, my Ancient China assignment is listed right here. Your most recent assignments will appear at the top of your list. It will give you the due date with the start date. Who has not started it, what's in progress, what's ready to be graded, and what's completed. You may click on the assignment name, and it will take you to that assignment creation where you have the opportunity to either edit this assignment if you see fit, or to delete it if you no longer need it. I'm just going to navigate right back here to my Discover tab. And the last thing to highlight from this quick session is under All Resources, you'll have access to all the resources to support you with Ancient Civilizations, HMH's social studies, including teacher presentations that download as PowerPoints. Each lesson, or should I say for the module, you'll have a PowerPoint to support you with the individual lessons for that unit. You may use that and display it as you see fit. You'll have access to primary source database, where you can use to support deeper enrichment with your students, as well as featured sites, including our current events website that keeps our students up to date on today's current events, providing you with access to news articles, videos that have been curated by HMH to be safe for our students, including access to HMH's resources, directing you back to social studies, and our free newsletter of Keeping It Current. This free monthly newsletter comes to you simply by being an HMH social studies teacher. Another website that you have access to is Checkology, that helps support our students with media literacy to make sure that they are being accurate as they navigate throughout and know how to differentiate between the facts and the fiction. You have this wonderful resource available to you for free, as well as additional feature sites to support instruction in your classroom. The last thing to highlight from today's session is that you can easily continue to navigate throughout and find resources to support by clicking the question mark here, which takes you to the help feature. And it will provide you with quick reference guides, tutorial videos, and resources to help support you as you continue to navigate at your friend and learning. Thank you so much for being part of today's overview session of the teacher's perspective of things. Thank you so much and have a great day.